Imagine for a moment that money isn't just paper or numbers on a screen, but a silent force that governs almost every decision in our lives. From the house we live in to the quality of the food we put on the table, everything is influenced by how we understand or ignore the invisible rules of money. The data is clear. According to the Credit Suisse Global Wealth Report, the richest 1% of the planet controls more than 45% of the world's wealth. And yet, that elite didn't get there by luck. They got there because they understood that money isn't earned solely through physical effort, but through strategy, mindset, and long-term vision. Perhaps you felt it too, that feeling that there's an instruction book you were never given, a secret manual that seems reserved only for a select few. Tell me in the comments if you've ever had that suspicion. I want to read you. Today, I'm going to reveal 10 invisible rules that the rich apply every day and that are rarely taught in school or in a traditional job. If you manage to internalize them, not only will your view of money change, but also your relationship with time, freedom, and opportunity. Rule 1. Make money work harder than you do. Most people have been raised with the misconception, work hard and you'll achieve financial stability. However, the reality is harsher. Hard work on its own rarely leads to wealth. Why? Because while you only have 24 hours in a day, money has no limits on time or energy. A bill, properly placed in the right place, can work 24/7, even while you sleep, travel, or enjoy time with your family. The rich understood this truth decades ago. Money must become a silent army of financial employees. Every dollar, every euro, or every peso they save and invest stops being a piece of paper and becomes a tireless worker who never takes a vacation. An eye-opening numerical example. If an average person keeps $200 a month under their mattress, after 10 years, they will have $24,000 worth less due to inflation. On the other hand, if those same $200 are invested in an S&P 500 index fund with a historical annual return close to 10%, in 10 years, they will become approximately $38,000. The difference is stark. It's not that that person worked more hours, but that their money worked harder than they did. The rich multiply, they don't accumulate. Here's the key. The middle class tends to think in terms of saving as putting away what's left over after spending, while the rich think in terms of strategic investing. Where others see $1,000 as an expense, they see it as a seed capable of bearing infinite fruit. While others look for a side hustle to increase their income, the wealthy look for an extra asset that can multiply their income without multiplying their effort. Diversification of financial soldiers. This silent army I'm talking about isn't formed with a single type of investment. The wealthy typically spread their capital across different fronts. Real estate, rentals that generate steady monthly flows, stocks and index funds, long-term growth, automated or digital businesses, online sales that don't depend on their physical presence, royalties and copyrights, music, books, patents, income that keeps coming in from something done in the past. Each source of passive income becomes a soldier protecting their financial freedom. A change of mindset. Ask yourself this question. Do you want to continue being the one working for money, or would you prefer money to work for you? It doesn't matter how much you earn today. If you set aside even 10% of your income and allocate it to a productive asset, you're getting the ball rolling. It may be slow at first, but over time, compound interest will accelerate the process. Think of it this way. If every dollar is an employee, do you want just a couple of tired workers or an entire army that never tires? If this rule resonated with you, leave it in the comments with the phrase, "Nothing stops me, everything drives me." That way, I'll know you're one of those ready to build a financial army that never sleeps. Rule 2. Spend to grow, not to impress. Premature luxury is probably one of the most expensive traps of modern life. That sports car financed in installments, that watch that sparkles on your wrist, or those fashionable clothes that change every season, These are symbols that consume capital but don't generate value. True wealth is rarely built on appearances. As Thomas Stanley so aptly demonstrated in his book The Millionaire Next Door, most first-generation millionaires don't flaunt wealth in their early years. On the contrary, they live below their means for long periods, focusing every extra dollar on investment rather than ostentation. The hidden cost of impressing. Suppose someone decides to buy a $40,000 car as soon as they start earning a higher salary. The same car 5 years later will likely have depreciated by 60%, meaning it will lose $24,000 in value. Now, if that same person had invested those $40,000 in a fund with an average annual return of 8%, in 10 years, they would have around $86,000. The difference isn't just monetary, it's mental. A car loses value, while an investment gains strength over time. The rich spend strategically. The secret isn't not spending, but spending wisely. Each expense should be evaluated with a single question. Is this bringing me closer to financial freedom or simply feeding my momentary ego? A millionaire rarely spends to impress the neighbor. Their spending is strategic. They invest in education to multiply their knowledge and skills. They spend on business tools that allow them to generate more income. They buy assets that produce a steady flow of money. It's a clear pattern. The rich don't buy things to show them off, but to make those things work for them. The social trap of instant success. We live in an era where success seems to be measured in Instagram photos. New clothes, constant travel, shiny watches, and lavish dinners. But behind that facade, there is often debt, stress, and a growing financial void. True success, the kind that lasts, doesn't need to be posted on social media. It is built silently, day after day, with smart decisions that no one applauds at first, but that everyone envies later. In the end, genuine luxury isn't a car that depreciates in value, nor a watch that goes out of style. True luxury is freedom, being able to choose what to do with your time, who to dedicate your energy to, and how you want to live. Rule 3. Surround yourself with minds that expand your vision. Money has limits, but the mind doesn't. And yet, most people surround themselves with voices that repeat the same things. It's too risky. It's better to stay where you are. Money only brings problems. That kind of environment doesn't multiply your wealth, it reduces it. The rich know this well. That's why they seek mentors, advisors, and communities that challenge them to think bigger. Because the right advice at the right time can save you years of mistakes and thousands of dollars in unnecessary losses. The value of a single idea. Think about this. An investment recommendation that prevents you from losing $10,000 is already worth more than any luxury watch. And the most interesting thing is that those ideas often come from conversations with the right people. Just one mentor can change the way you think about money. A community focused on growth can inspire you to take actions you would never have taken alone. Financial loneliness is costly. Many people walk their financial path in silence, believing that doing everything alone is a sign of independence. But the truth is different. Financial loneliness is expensive. It leads you to repeat mistakes others have already made. It deprives you of opportunities that circulate in certain circles and never reach those who are isolated. It keeps you trapped in a limited vision, while others move forward with clarity. The wealthy don't see learning as an expense, but as a high-yield investment. They know that every conversation with a broader mind is like opening a window to a larger horizon. Rule 4. Build a wall of liquidity. Wealth isn't measured only by what you have invested. It's also measured by how peacefully you sleep at night. And that peace of mind starts with one word: liquidity. The wealthy always maintain an emergency fund equivalent to 6 to 12 months of expenses. This reserve isn't a luxury, it's a shield. It allows them to face life with power. The power to reject an unfair deal. The power to wait for a better opportunity without despair. The power to negotiate calmly because they don't need to say yes to everything.
the cost of not having liquidity. Most people make the mistake of investing every spare dollar without setting aside a cushion. The problem arises when something unexpected happens: a layoff, an illness, an economic crisis. Those without liquidity are forced to sell assets at the worst possible time, when prices are low. This destroys years of financial construction. On the other hand, those with a wall of liquidity can weather the storm. Even more, they can take advantage of it. While others panic sell, they buy at bargains. A numerical example. Let's say your monthly expenses are $2,000. A solid emergency fund should range between $12,000 and $24,000. That amount, well protected in liquid accounts or easily accessible instruments, can make the difference between falling victim to a crisis or turning the crisis into your greatest opportunity. If these two rules resonated with you, leave it in the comments with the phrase, "I accept success, money, and happiness in my life." Because true wealth begins in your mind, is built with discipline, and is protected with vision.
Rule 5. Time is more valuable than money. A lost bill can always be recovered. A wasted hour, never. This is the silent equation that the rich understand and most ignore. While many focus on saving pennies by washing their own car or completing minor tasks, the rich guard their time with absolute zeal. Because they know the difference isn't in working more, but in working better. How the rich protect their time. 1. They delegate tasks. If something can be done by someone else at a lower cost than the value of your productive hour, they delegate without hesitation. 2. They automate processes. From automated investment systems to digital businesses that run on pilot. 3. They prioritize the essential. They distinguish between the urgent and the important, focusing on what truly moves the needle for their wealth. Time is not just a resource, it's the most powerful asset of all. The effect of time on investing. Investing early, even a small amount, is the most effective way to multiply wealth. A simple example. If at age 20 you invest only $200 a month at an 8% annual return, by age 60, you'll have around $587,000. But if you start at age 30 with the same habit, you'll only have $260,000. The difference of 10 years represents more than double your accumulated capital. That's the true value of time, invisible at first, incalculable at the end. Rule 6. Master compound interest. Albert Einstein called it the eighth wonder of the world, and he wasn't exaggerating. Compound interest turns small financial habits into silent fortunes that grow while you sleep. The mathematical power of compound interest. Let's look at an example. If you invest $300 a month in a fund with an average annual return of 8% from age 25 to age 65, you'll end up with more than $850,000. Now, of those $850,000, only $144,000 will have come out of your pocket. The rest, more than $700,000, will have been generated by your own money working for you. That's what the rich understand. The real magic isn't in saving a lot, but in starting early and maintaining discipline. The mathematical patience of the rich. The average citizen looks for shortcuts, get rich quick, find the miracle investment, win the lottery. The rich, on the other hand, play a different game, the game of mathematical patience. They know that compound interest doesn't require luck, only perseverance. Every dollar invested becomes a worker who never takes a vacation, who works day and night, and who over time brings other dollars with him. If these two rules resonated with you, write in the comments, "I am prosperous and I attract wealth." Let this affirmation be your anchor to remember that every minute and every dollar has the power to multiply if you know where to place them. Rule 7. Never accept less than your worth. Money is a reflection of perceived value, and perceived value always begins with self-perception. The wealthy understand this. Before convincing the market to pay more,
They convince themselves they're worth it. Negotiating isn't greed, it's fairness. Most people are afraid of causing discomfort, remain silent in job interviews, and accept unfair terms to avoid appearing problematic. But every unnecessary concession is lost wealth. The wealthy, on the other hand, negotiate with data, confidence, and a long-term vision. They know that saying no to the wrong deal opens the way for the right deal. A Glassdoor study revealed that only 39% of candidates negotiate their first salary. However, those who do achieve an average of 7% more initial income. It seems small, but projected over a 30-year career, it can mean hundreds of thousands of dollars in difference. The power of value in action. Think of a corporate lawyer who charges $200 an hour. If he didn't believe his time was worth that much, no one else would pay him. The same goes for you. Your income is a mirror of your self-worth. The rich never settle for less than what they contribute, because they know that every dollar lost through lack of negotiation is a dollar they'll never get back. Rule 8. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Smart diversification is the wall that separates stability from ruin. Those who depend on a single source of income, a single investment, or a single market live at the mercy of factors beyond their control. True diversification. Many people believe that diversification means opening multiple bank accounts or having money spread across different savings accounts. That's not diversification, it's dispersion. Diversification means placing capital in assets of different types, so that what affects one doesn't destroy the whole. Classic example: a portfolio composed solely of stocks can lose 40% in a stock market crash. In contrast, a balanced portfolio of 40% stocks, 30% real estate, 20% bonds, and 10% precious metals not only holds up better, but can even benefit from volatility. The wealthy distribute: real estate that generates income, businesses that produce cash flow, stocks that grow in value, metals that protect against inflation, and even seed capital in high-potential startups. Thus, they don't depend on a single economic engine, but on several operating in parallel. The most expensive mistake. Just look at history. In 2008, millions of people lost a large part of their savings because they relied solely on the real estate market. In 2020, many more were left vulnerable because they had everything in physical businesses without digital backing. The rich learn. It's not about guessing the future, but about protecting themselves against every possible future. If you feel this principle of self-worth and diversification resonates with you, please write in the comments, "I am prosperous and I attract wealth." Make this phrase a promise to yourself. Never accept less than your worth and never rely on a single bet. Rule 9. Use other people's money strategically. The rich aren't afraid of debt. On the contrary, they understand it as a leverage tool. While most people use it for consumption, buying a car that's losing value, financing a vacation, or filling their house with things, the rich use it for multiplication, acquiring assets that generate more money than it costs to borrow. Bad debt versus good debt. The difference is in the destination. Bad debt, paying with a credit card for a television or a trip that will lose value from day one. Good debt, a mortgage that finances a rental property, a loan to expand a productive business, or investor capital that accelerates a company's growth. Real-life example. If you buy an apartment with a 6% interest mortgage, but that property generates a 10% annual net return in rent, debt becomes a leverage tool. That 4% difference not only pays off the loan, but also builds equity with money that wasn't yours. The lever principle. Imagine trying to move a huge rock with your bare hands. Impossible. But with a lever, you can do it. Other people's money is that lever. It allows you to move projects larger than you could with your own capital. The rich know the secret isn't in running away from debt, but in making borrowed money work for you, not against you. The lever principle. Now you see, The difference between those who achieve wealth and those who only dream of it isn't in impossible-to-decipher secrets, but in the mindset, decisions, and habits that are repeated every day. It doesn't matter where you come from or how far away the goal seems. Every small step, every conscious choice, every renunciation of the unnecessary is a building block in the construction of your freedom. And if anything you heard resonated with you, don't ignore it. It means you're ready for the next message. Subscribe and join me on this journey, because knowledge transforms not by what you know, but by what you decide to apply.